Nigeria's failure to resolve the national question led to the civil war that erupted in 1967. That the civil war occurred was a response to the negative effect of divisive actions. But we learned no lesson from it. And since we learned no lesson of genuine appreciation of national challenges, we find ourselves still confronting ethnic and religious issues. This is what the recent letter of a former Nigerian leader, Olusegun Obasanjo, addressed. In all, good governance is the ultimate solution, but this will be helped by a system designed to encourage fairness, justice, and social-political and economic progress. If Obasanjo is the subject, then it's also the subject of power. And power underlines the real motive and objectives behind the political activities and institution-building processes within a political society. The crisis in Nigeria arose from the competition for power. Sadly, the struggle has failed to address the fundamental problems of ethnic dominance, social and economic justice, rule of law, human rights, and equality needed for a well-organized system. Power on a good day should be a means to make social action possible. The reason power denotes the ability of a person to fulfill his desire or his objectives. Executive, legislature, and judiciary are the traditional structures for the allocation of values in a system. So they constitute the formal dimension of political power, while the informal aspect of political power is the influencing activities of political parties, media, pressure groups, and popular movements. But what I want to remind you of is that the ideas of the ruling class are in every epoch the ruling ideas. The point is that the ruling class, through their dominant character, manipulates society in their own interest, thus becoming the definers of the character of the state. My interest here is to identify a center of personal power that authoritatively allocates values to the Nigerian society. Buhari, Obasanjo, Tinubu, Atiku, Pastor Adeboye, and the Sultan of Sokoto are examples of centers of power. The action and inaction of the men of power determine the progress of society. In the Nigerian context, the failure of the system is linked to the politics of the men of power. These men and women, in expressing their personal prejudices, have failed to position society in the interest of the common good. In the developed world, the competition among the power elites led to the competition of ideas in the interest of society. Let's take Obasanjo as our sample. He had the opportunity to govern Nigeria twice. The first was as a military head of state. His second reign was from 1999 to 2007 as a democratically elected president. The name Obasanjo is synonymous with power. When he is not holding on to political power in the form of direct leadership, he instigates arguments that keep him in the news. Obasanjo understands the politics of power and uses his game to elevate himself, carrying along segments of society, while other segments throw more at him. I have told this story before. Let me tell it again. Growing up, I wondered how these men manipulate the system. I can remember visiting a military officer while in secondary school. I wanted to know why military officers carry out bloody coups. He told me it's a game of power and relevance. He said it takes planning, strategy, and betrayal. I asked if they must kill to attain power. He said, young man, in this part of the world, applying brutish tactics to attain power is allowed. I also wanted to know if there are books they read to understand the game of power. He went inside, came out with some books. He said in the military, most of them interested in brutal power. Read the books he showed me. I asked him to release the books to me for my reading pleasure. He refused, saying I was too young to understand and interpret the ideas in them. I was in SS3 then. However, he allowed me to go through one of the books there and then, and that was the first time I came in contact with the book, The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. I was intrigued by the expression of political maneuvering that the author explained. I would later buy mine as a first-year university student. I also bought the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. With the help of these books, I started making sense of the behavior of the military in governance and the instrument of violence deployed in the interest of power, not the people. Since then, I have invested more on books like that of Greene. I want to understand what drives men of power. Can Obasanjo be described as a man exhibiting huge Machiavellian traits? Let me take you into Greene's first law of power. It states, never outshine the master. He says, outshining the master inspires fear and insecurity. Greene goes on to make the point that make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. Could that be the reason, in the Nigerian case, sycophants, hero worship are failing leaders in order to attain power? Did Atiku Abubakar, as vice president, try to outshine Obasanjo, the president? Could being a man of power be the reason Obasanjo tried to put Atiku in his place? Remember, the 15th law of power states, crush your enemy totally. Was that what Obasanjo did to Atiku? Was that the reason Abacha crushed Yaradua in detention? I mean the elder Yaradua, not the younger one that became Nigeria's president in 2007. Obasanjo is known for writing letters and raising alarms. He is a friend today, an enemy tomorrow. Yet he cannot be crushed. Why?